Eh bien, bonsoir, si je ne le dis pas trop vite. Pire, je le redirai dans 2 minutes, une fois je serai sûr. C'est déjà une entrée incroyable, hein. C'est une mise en scène exceptionnelle. Ah, on est sûr. On est sûr qu'on n'est pas sur du n'importe quoi, hein. Alors ne quittez pas. Et bien évidemment, comme mon habitude. Bien évidemment toujours. Le test de son. Le test de son est approuvé, donc on peut y aller. Donc ce soir on est sur Stanley Parable, hein. Si vous ne connaissez pas ce jeu, ben, on ne peut rien faire pour vous, hein, déjà dedans. Ce jeu est quand même assez connu et surtout excellent. Non, j'ai jamais joué, j'ai vu des vidéos, mais j'ai jamais joué. Parce que l'ordinateur sera à peine visible. Comme ça, c'est pas mal. L'heure actuelle, eh ben, il est 20h54. Ah, c'est pas sur 24 heures. Alors, 55, maintenant, je peux faire comme ça. 5, il est 8h55. Yeah. Bon, je valide. C'est bon, hein, il est 50h, 20h. C'est bon. Il est bien, ouais. Ok. Remarque, les paramètres d'activité sont accessibles depuis le menu principal. D'accord. De Stanley Parable. Alors il y a un trophée. Bah ce jeu je vais pas le platine. Je vous le dis parce qu'il y a un trophée, il faut ne pas lancer le jeu pendant 10 ans. Rien que ça. Rien que 10 ans. Donc pour le platine, merci mais non merci. Je m'en passerai, je vais dire. Et on commence. The end is never end.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons.
J'insiste beaucoup sur le fait que c'est 427.
Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day, every month of every year.
En bref, c'était payé juste à faire ça.
Might have considered it soul-ending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy.
C'est le principal, être heureux dans son boulot. Ok, c'est peut-être un job qui a l'air nul, mais faut être intéressant.
Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He was at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow.
Wow.
No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
Alors les deux... Ah, what the fuck, je me compare avec L1, mais quelle idée barjo là. Avec L1 et L2, d'accord. Je peux appuyer sur X. Alors. Ok. Je sais pas, ça fait comme si j'appuyais sur des touches quand j'appuie sur X, mais ça ne fait absolument rien. Rond, triangle, carré ne servent à rien, les flèches directionnelles ne servent à rien. L1, R2, L2, R1, non, je vais y arriver. L1, L2 servent à s'accomplir, R1 ne sert à rien, R2 ne sert à rien. Bon, on y va.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Ah, j'ai éteint le PC. Je peux éteindre d'autres PC? Ou alors l'allumer? Non, une fois que j'ai fait ça, je ne peux plus. Ça, limite, ça ressemble à des backrooms, hein. C'est limite et backbone, quoi. Est-ce qu'on l'écoute ou est-ce qu'on l'écoute pas?
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
On va pas l'écouter, on va suivre notre instinct.
Ah, yes, truly a room worth admiring.
Véritablement
It
admirable.
had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room. Stanley simply stood here, drinking it all in.
Un papier au sol, il écrit quoi dessus?
Yes, really worth
Vraiment,
being here in the room. A room so utterly captivating that even though all your co-workers have mysteriously vanished, here you sit looking at these chairs and some paintings. Really worth it.
Vraiment la peine. Et d'ailleurs, regardons ces tableaux. Hein,
At this point, Stanley's
l'obsession
obsession
de
with
Stanley
this room
commence à
creepy
devenir
and
inquiétante.
reflected poorly on his
Je
overall
sais pour
personality. It's possible that this is why everyone left.
Ok, on va sortir de cette pièce.
But at last, he'd had enough of the
De cette
amazing
pièce
room
formidable.
and took the first open door on his left to get back to business.
Oh, c'est quoi ici? Il y a rien à me dire si je
Stanley
rentre.
was
Ah,
so
d'accord.
bad at following
pas
directions,
dit-
it's
c'est
incredible he wasn't
incroyable.
fired years ago.
Il n'était pas licencié depuis bien longtemps. Unity for misuse of cargo lift. Unity for jumping of cargo lift. Oh bah je peux vraiment tomber!
But in his eagerness to prove
dans sa
that
soif
he
de
is in
prouver qu'il
control
contrôlait
of the
l'histoire et que
story and
personne
no
ne pouvait
one gets to
lui
tell him
dire
what to do, Stanley leapt from the platform and plunged to his death. Good job, Stanley. Everyone thinks you are very powerful.
Moi je me trouve très puissant. Je pensais pas qu'on pouvait tomber. Alors nous dire voici.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
Mais pourquoi?
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Attendez, est-ce qu'on repart à droite là?
When Stanley came to a
Alors on
set
repart à
of 2
droite.
open doors,
Je voulais
this
pas
was
tomber
not
de
the
truc.
correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well.
Vraiment je voulais pas tomber, je pensais
Stop
pas
by
qu'on
the
pouvait tomber comme
employee
ça.
lounge
On a
first,
apparemment tous
just to
se
admire
casser les
it.
genoux.
Wow, yes,
Eh oui, cette
this
pièce.
room. What a beautiful room. What a gorgeous room.
Dis pas la même
Thank
chose.
goodness Stanley had taken this detour on his way to the meeting room.
Dis pas la
Life
même
without
chose.
having experienced this room was now too horrible
Ah, mais
even to
il
consider.
n'avait pas vu cette pièce. Bon, il dit pas les mêmes dialogues. Donc il y a vraiment
But
plein de dialogues.
eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Ouais. T'inquiète, la première porte à ma gauche là.
Stanley was so bad at following directions,
Ah non, là,
it's
c'est la même
incredible
phrase.
he wasn't fired years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot.
Écoutez,
I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her.
Pour elle? Pour
This
qui
is
elle?
it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself. To put your work aside. To let her back into your life.
Elle parle de qui?
She's been waiting.
Elle attend. Il parle de qui elle? Oula.
That's
Ah.
her, Stanley.
C'est elle, ça
You
devait-
need to be the one
ça
to
vous
do
y aller de
this.
faire le premier
To
pas.
reach out to her. If you can truly place your faith in an... Oh, no, you can't. Did you just unplug the phone? Well, that wasn't supposed to be a choice. How did you do that? You actually chose incorrectly? I didn't even know that was possible. Let me
Ah, moi j'ai vu un
double check.
câble débranché, ouais. 300 de papier.
No, it's definitely here, clear as day. Stanley picks up the phone. He's taken to his apartment where he finds his wife, and the two pledge themselves to one another. Music comes in, fade to white. Not picking up the phone is actually somehow an incorrect course of action. How is that even possible? None of these decisions were supposed to mean anything. I don't understand. How on earth are you making meaningful choices? What did you... Wait a second. Did I just see... No, that's not possible. I can't believe it. How had I not noticed it sooner? You're not Stanley. You're a real person. I can't believe I was so mistaken. This is why you've been able to make correct and incorrect choices. And to think I've been letting you run around in this game for so long. If you'd made any more wrong choices, you might have negated it entirely. It's as though you completely ignored even the most basic safety protocol for real-world decision-making. Or did you not grasp the severity of the situation? Well, I won't have that kind of risk on my watch. I'm going to stop the game for a moment so we can educate you properly on safe decision-making in the real world. Please observe this helpful instructional
ok, on a le vidéo. Ok, vas-y.
Choice. It's the best part of being a real person. But if used incorrectly, can also be the most dangerous. For example, in this scenario, a hypothetical real person named Rupert has a choice. He could invent a machine that eliminates food shortages across the world to make life better for all people. Or he could spend years of hard work forgetting how to read. Which choice would you make? Remember that unlike here, the real world makes sense, and at no time should you make a choice that does not conform to rational logic. If you find yourself speaking with a person who does not make sense, in all likelihood, that person is not real. Allow the person to finish their thought, then provide an excuse why you cannot continue talking. Turn to a partner and practice saying, "My goodness, is it 4:30? I'm supposed to be having a back sack and crack."
Ok, les gars, là va falloir se concentrer.
Making choices on a regular basis is the best part to a healthy decision-making process. Most medical professionals recommend making at least 8 choices per day. Do you make more than 8? Less? And finally, if you begin to wonder if your choices are actually meaningful and whether you'll ever make a significant contribution to the world, just remember that in the vast infiniteness of space, your thoughts and problems are materially insignificant, and the feeling should subside. At this time, your instructor will guide you in an exercise to test and reinforce the material covered in this video.
On va avoir un petit exercice et tout, les gars.
Welcome back. You may have noticed that this room has begun to deteriorate as a result of narrative contradiction. But not to worry. Now that you're properly informed on good decision-making, we're going to revisit a choice you made just a few minutes ago and see what the correct thing to do would have been. This way, please.
Je peux pas le rebrancher? Ah, ça aurait été marrant de le rebrancher, tu sais. Ok. Alors. Ah, d'accord. Et on repart. Ah, il a mis des barrières de sécurité.
Now that we know your choices are meaningful, we can't have you jumping off the
platform.
Imagine the main character dying senselessly halfway through the story. That story would make no sense at all. We just need to get you home as soon as possible before the narrative contradiction gets any worse.
Ah, vas-y, faut essayer d'empirer.
It seems this place is not well equipped to deal with reality.
Je trouve un moyen peut-être de sauter ou pas. Ah là. Ah là. Ah là. Ok, pour moi j'ai pas le choix. Ah, faut une carte d'accès. Ouais, allez. Je peux repasser par la magnifique pièce? Ah bah j'ai pas le choix. J'ai pas le choix en fait.
Almost there. You'll take the door on the left, back to the correct ending, the story will have resolution once again, and you'll be home free in the real world.
Non, je veux pas dans mon rire. Oui, what the fuck?
Now remember, all you need to do is behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Attends, je vais aller dans le néant, là, je vois qu'il y a... On peut pas passer, là. On va bien, là, wow, bon. C'est pas ce que si je passe par à droite encore. Ça va faire empirer les choses.
No! Why did you do that? Quickly, hurry back in the other direction. Perhaps we're not too late.
Ah oui, d'accord. Oh là là. Ah, j'ai fait tout bugger. Ah, effectivement. C'est pas... Est-ce qu'on a réussi à faire tout bugger pour la suite? Bon. Ah. Bugger la voix off, du moins. Ah oui, il n'y avait plus rien derrière la fenêtre. Ah oui.
I can't believe, after everything we talked about, that you... my story, you've destroyed my work. Why? For what? What did you get out of that? What did you think was so special about seeing the game undone, left here like so much garbage? It's worthless now. And what am I supposed to do? Even if there were a way to continue, would it be worth it? To know that my story is now incorrect? How can I go back to that? I can't erase that knowledge. I'll have to live with it forever, reliving its impossibility forever. I couldn't live that way. Is it better to shut the game down entirely? To willingly destroy all of my work? I don't know. What's the answer? What do I do? What do I do? What do I...
What the fuck?
No, I have to. I have to shut the game down. I
No.
have to. I
Ne fais
have
pas
to.
ça. No. No. Oh, ça a pas vraiment marché là, mec. Hein. J'ai légèrement l'impression que ça a pas marché.
Oh, I'm here. I'm still here in this pile of rubbish.
C'est à dire avec vous.
You, who thought you were so clever. Now look where we are. My entire game is destroyed. It was the only thing in the world that was mine, and you've run it into the ground.
Alors,
What,
oui,
did you think that would be funny?
Ouais.
You just had to see? Didn't I impress upon you how important it was to be like Stanley? He actually knows how to do what I tell him to. He understands that if I say to do something, there's a damn good reason for it.
Ah ouais, une bonne raison.
That thought hadn't even occurred to you, had it? That there's a world outside of you? You're a child.
No.
Oh, my story. If you'd just gone through the door on the left, you would have seen it. There was a whole underground facility. You would have destroyed it and been victorious.
Oh, no.
It would have been so perfect. I worked so hard on it. I tried so hard to make...
Ah.
...is behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
C'est tentant, hein, c'est tentant de pas du tout écouter. Oh, attention, j'écoute pas. J'écoute. Ah, bâtard, bâtard, il m'a capturé comme un poisson. Ah merde, il m'a capturé.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Ah, les réponses. Ah
Coming to the
merde.
staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Une à une, il a dit une à une. Attends, je veux pas. C'est vachement blanc là-bas. Oui. C'est quoi ce bureau de merde?
Stepping inside his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this, until he saw the door with a voice receiver next to it. Surely behind this door lay all the answers to his questions. And beyond all probability, he knew the passcode. He had seen it on his boss's computer just last week. Nightshark 115. Was this the code to open the door? Would it still work? There was only one way to find out. Stanley had been trained never to speak up, but now he would draw from within himself the courage to face the unknown. He drew a sharp breath and then spoke the code.
Une connerie à faire là, je peux pas faire une bêtise.
Stanley spoke the code.
Pardon.
Nightshark 115. He spoke it into the receiver, right there on the wall.
Requin. Ça marche pas? Ça marche pas?
I'm sorry, is there a problem? You didn't mishear me, did you? Please speak the code into the receiver. Otherwise we can't get on with the story.
Ah, c'est ce que je devrais en faire.
Step.
Attends, il avait dit c'était quoi le code? Merde. Requin noir en 5?
Fine, you're not gonna do it, but you know what? It's pretty humiliating to bring you this far,
Ah
only
ouais?
for you to suddenly decide you have better things to do. I asked you for this one single thing, for your respect. The kind of respect Stanley shows for his choices. He knows what it means to take a story seriously. If you didn't want to see what I had to show you, then why did you come here? You had a choice, you know. You could have gone through the door on the right. You could have done whatever the hell you wanted over there. Why did you come this way? Speak. Say something to me. Explain yourself, you coward. You...
Mais il est pas agressif. Ah.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Ah, dans la porte de droite, mec. Porte de droite.
Stanley? Hello? Are you... Is everything okay? Stanley, please. I need you to make a choice.
The hell?
I need you to walk through the door. Are you listening to me? Can you hear me? Is everything all right? Stanley, this is important.
Alors on a tué Stanley.
The story needs you. It needs you to make a decision. It cannot exist without you. Do you understand me? Whatever choice you make is just fine. They're both correct. You cannot be wrong here. We can work together. I'll accept whatever you do. I simply need you to take that step forward. Please choose. Do something. Anything. This is more important than you can ever know. I need this. The story needs it. So, you hear me? Are you there? Are you listening to this? Stanley, are you there? Okay. It's okay, I can wait. You need time to decide. Time to make sure your choice is correct. That is the best choice.
Laissez-moi.
Right.
Sorry, le roi.
I'll wait for you to decide what's the right thing to do. Take as much time as you need.
Ça, c'était une des fins pendant que j'ai vu. Pas genre juste rester dans mon bureau. Pas une des fins, c'est rester dans son bureau. Quand je m'en PS là, dans son coin. Ah, je peux jouer avec mon clavier. Alors je joue à moitié manette, à moitié clavier les gars. Y'a pas un truc si je reste dans la pièce? Oh, c'est pas grave, on y va.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
Allez, on va
Stanley
l'écouter.
decided to go
Il
to
avait l'air
the
vraiment
meeting room.
triste à la fin.
Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
C'est toujours extrêmement blanc.
Yet there was not a single person here either.
Personne.
Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office.
Oh, je peux
Coming to
descendre.
the staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Oh, attendez, on a dit qu'on... Oh, attendez, ça a l'air vachement creepy en dessous. Attendez, ça a l'air vachement creepy. Oh, c'est bizarre. Oh, je peux rentrer chez moi?
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work
j'avoue que là, j'aurais pas
hours. He might
accepté.
be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a
ça se
single
répète.
moment for no reason at all.
Ah non, ça se répète pas.
None of it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange
Ah si, ça se
observations.
répète.
For example, why couldn't
mais
he
ça,
see
c'est
his
bien,
feet
c'est
when he
regardé
looked
au sol.
down? Why did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went? And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating? No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. I'm dreaming, he yelled. This is all a dream. Oh, what a relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers were actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all. And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So, he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the ground. Then he imagined himself soaring through space on a magical starfield, and it too appeared. It was so much fun, and Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking? Now the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought. And while he thought it all very odd and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself, believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself? Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life. Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream.
On doit prouver que c'est qu'un rêve.
So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back, the fresh air of a world outside this one. Let me wake up, he thought to himself. I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be over. Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please, it's all I want. I want my apartment, and my wife, and my job. All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. I am normal. Everything will be fine. I am okay.
Ok. Oula. Ah, maintenant je suis de retour ici.
Stanley began screaming. Please, someone, wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? Who am I? And everything went black.
No! No! Ah non, c'est pas vrai.
This is the story of a woman named
Ah.
Mariella.
Allez, let's go.
Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy, this much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am sane. I am in control of my mind. I know what is real and what isn't.
Okay,
It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day. The very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life. She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body. And then she turned and ran.
Ok, on a une autre fin. On a une autre fin. Il y a déjà deux fins. Ok.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply
On
missed
va
a
le suivre
memo.
jusqu'au bout, on va suivre ce qu'il dit jusqu'au bout.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Ouais, t'inquiète, la porte de gauche, ouais.
Yet
Oh,
there
the
was not a
person?
single
Oh, what the
person
fuck,
here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley
je suis
decided to
incrédule.
go up to his boss. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Si je retourne en bas, il se passe quoi? Si je retourne en bas, ça recommence le même truc? Oh non, 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 on va monter. Oh, il est écrit quoi là? Executive bathroom. Oh! Ah, salle de bain. Money is the money, money for breakfast. Et dans la salle de bain. Je peux rien faire? Pourquoi la porte était fermée alors? Pourquoi je pourrais aller dans la salle de bain? Forcément un truc là. Money in the morning, money in the evening, money for breakfast. Money crisp. Comment ça, y'a rien à faire dans cette salle de bain là? Bon, y'a rien à faire dans cette salle de bain. Oh, pourquoi tu fermes la porte? Je décide si on ferme la porte ou pas. Non. Arrête. C'est pas toi qui décide. Si moi je la referme, est-ce qu'elle va se réouvrir? Ok, non. Moi je vais me faire avoir. Oh! Mais what the fuck, mais c'est horrible! Business stratégie. Ah, je peux rentrer dans l'ascenseur? Vas-y, on va venir, on monte sur le toit. J'avais dit que j'écoutais, hein, mais bon. Oh! Let's go! Je peux grimper plus haut que... Allez. Musique d'ascenseur, tranquille là. J'ai cru entendre la voix off chantonner. Je sais pas fou, il chantonne. Il commence à vibrer sur la musique d'ascenseur en fait. commence à kiffer la musique. Il vibe sur la musique. Écoutez le vibe là. Ah il a fond dedans là maintenant, c'est parti. Vas-y. Ouais. On va décider d'aller en bas, hein. Allez. Ah bah on est... Ah bah quoi? Attendez. Ouais. Vraiment peu importe la touche que j'appuie, je remonte. Donc allez, on sort de cet ascenseur infini là. Ah bah c'est pas du tout le même bureau.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled,
Ah, il y a un code.
Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this, what dark secret was being held from him. What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this. Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
On peut pas rappuyer dessus? Non, apparemment non. Voilà. Waouh. Wow, qu'est-ce que c'est que cette histoire là? On est vraiment encore dans des bureaux. Oh putain, j'ai cru qu'il y avait pas de sol. De pression. Ok, chargement. Il y a un chargement, quand même.
Deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long.
Ouh, on va bientôt avoir la réponse. Oh, moi je veux la réponse. Je veux la réponse.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
J'ai mis escape. Ça m'intéresse.
Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death.
Je peux faire demi-tour.
But of course, Stanley thought better of it and realized he simply had too much to live for. Nope, still on board with death.
J'ai envie de voir s'il y a vraiment la mort. I'm un petit peu curieux là. Ah, c'est très long comme couloir. S'il disait la vérité,
The door behind him was not shut. Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track.
Allez, allez, on fait demi-tour. Bon, là, il dit plus rien. Bon, je voulais voir si ça, il allait encore dire des trucs. Allez, on fonce tout droit. Allez, c'est parti. C'est vraiment une mort horrible à la fin de ce couloir. Une mort violente. Une mort impressionnante. Une mort douloureuse. Une
At this
mort
point, Stanley was
inattendue.
making a conscious, concerted effort to walk forward and willingly confront his death.
Une mort incongrue. Une mort relative. Une mort. What the fuck? Ah non, il y a vraiment une mort.
As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley was inched closer and closer to his demise, he reflected that his life had been of no consequence whatsoever. Stanley can't see the bigger picture. He doesn't know the real story, trapped forever in his narrow vision of what this world is. Perhaps his death was of no great loss, like plucking the eyeballs from a blind man. And so he resigned and willingly accepted this violent end to his brief and shallow life. Farewell, Stanley.
Non! Non! Oh,
"Farewell, Stanley," cried the narrator, as Stanley was led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single
fuck?
visceral instant, Stanley was obliterated as the machine crushed every bone in his body, killing him instantly.
Oh. Stanley.
And yet it would be just a few minutes before Stanley would restart the game, back in his office, as alive as ever. What exactly did the narrator think he was going to accomplish?
Wow.
When every path you can walk has been created for you long in advance, death becomes meaningless, making life the same.
Sur notre bureau.
Do you see now? Do you see that Stanley was already dead from the moment he hit start?
Voilà, c'est bon. Ce plan vous montre le bureau au début de la partie de chemin entre le bureau de soins et les deux portes et tous les chemins conçus dans le jeu. Les options ont été ajoutées et modifiées au cours du développement, mais l'organisation générale est restée presque inchangée depuis la première itération. Putain, stylé! Tableau de paysage. Ça, c'est tous les tableaux qu'on peut croiser dans le jeu. Ordinateur de Stanley. Le rythme lors de cette section d'ouverture devait être irréprochable. Le couloir était déplacé et modifié afin que le joueur soit sûr d'atteindre les deux portes au bon moment. Ah oui, genre à la fin des paroles du narrateur. Le bureau. 1, 2, 3. Donc ça c'est des portes de bureau classique. Là il est mis quoi? Les deux portes, ces deux portes ouvertes constituent la toute première pierre du game design de Stanley Parable. Donc que cette salle a été créée, le reste du jeu a émergé à partir de ce point de départ. L'exploration de la contradiction posée par cette pièce. Son de bouton. Une sélection de sons entendus dans le jeu à chaque utilisation d'un bouton. Chaque son est un mélange de frappe de clavier et de synthétiseur. Ça c'est de la musique ça mon pote. Tectonique. Armoire de rangement. Ordinateur du bureau. Ok. Remerciements. Oh, des remerciements. Créé conçu par David, développé par responsable direction. Musique. On va aller à la gauche. Je vais d'abord aller à la gauche, au lieu d'aller à droite. J'ai l'impression que ça c'est une suite de musée un peu. Le bureau. Salle de maintenance. Là, je l'ai vu ça, une des premières versions de la salle de maintenance. Ah, donc c'est pas encore comment je l'ai vu. C'est stylé de voir tout le développement du jeu. Stylé. Stylé. Oh, what the fuck? Zone de guerre? Nous avons imaginé une fin où Stanley se retrouvait sur un champ de bataille contre des extraterrestres. En fait, ça prend pas des gens partir en guerre contre un narrateur. Je suis enfin après, si la blague trop loin, ils étaient peut-être là par rapport au ton du jeu. Certains ont aussi vu comme une manière de nous moquer des amateurs de jeux de tir, ce qui n'était pas notre but. Oh, ça aurait été trop fun. C'est vrai que là, ça serait parti loin. Hein, Je mets le générateur avec une deuxième bande-annonce. Nous avons demandé aux gens d'envoyer des questions par email. Le narrateur, nous comptons nous en servir pour pouvoir encore le jeu, mais nous n'avons jamais trouvé vraiment comment les exploiter. Voici une section de ces emails. Et donc ça, c'est qu'est-ce qui se passe si Stanley rentre dans une autre pièce. J'ai une question brûlante. Blablabla. Ouais, bon, vous avez magnificence voice of it. Comment est-ce que vous êtes né pour revenir? Non, j'ai pas le temps de lire. Oui, en ce moment. J'ai pas le temps de lire ça. Ça change vite. Pas le temps. La salle de pause. On ressent de la salle de pause. Ah ouais, elle est beaucoup plus vite comme ça. Non, j'aime. Bon, c'est vrai que là, il y a une nette amélioration de la salle de pause. Militaire de l'appartement. Une des premières versions du choix menant à la fin de l'appartement, un minuteur vous laissait 15 secondes pour décrocher le téléphone. Pour décrocher le téléphone menait à une autre fin. Ah, alors que là, maintenant, c'est le fait de l'avoir débranché. Le monde charge, la deuxième version correspondant à celle que nous avons trouvée dans la version finale du jeu, mais nous donne l'apparence d'un endroit où on se trouve la marchandise. Ah, c'est beaucoup plus haut, effectivement. Le monde charge a toujours eu un but pour nous rester une petite vers un autre embranchement. La deuxième version, ah, oh, c'est vrai que je passe au-dessus des trucs et je pourrais tomber pour descendre. Oh, il faut qu'on teste. Faut qu'on teste. Faut qu'on teste. Vent to option. Salle de réunion, alors là, il met quoi? Plan de maintenance. Il est important de placer correctement les couloirs après leurs deux portes, car les joueurs allaient les emprunter plusieurs fois. Il suffit d'un certain nombre de plans, mais finalement, cette version est la plus simple qui a fait l'unanimité. Browser entrance will be hidden. What the fuck, il y a tellement de trucs. C'est quoi cet endroit? Ça, j'ai même pas vu ça, modèle de fin relaxante. La fin relaxante a connu plusieurs réitérations. Là, ça a eu 4 versions de la fin et une façon d'avoir achevé, mais finalement, à un moment donné, il modifié juste avant la sortie. Fin relaxante. Cette capture vous montre une des premières versions de la fin connue sous le nom de fin relaxante. Le vise de la fin relaxante. Le vite dans la relaxante, vous pouvez actionner un levier et une nature de la couleur de levier choisi. Menu échappe. Pendant longtemps, nous avions une fin ne, attends, qui ne se finissait vraiment que lorsque le joueur recommençait avec le menu échappe. Beaucoup de joueurs ont compris que c'est ce qu'ils devaient faire, ce qui est arrivé frustrant pour tout le monde. Ça s'arrête jamais. Le rôle du compte à rebours volant des bureaux dans une version antérieure de la fin du... Ah, la liberté, voici la fin de la brique telle qu'elle apparaissait dans la bêta. Ouah, tellement de trucs. Tellement de trucs. Ah, ok, non. Bah, je veux dire, ça ne mène nulle part. Bande annonce. Nous avons publié 4 bandes annonces lors du développement du jeu. Chacune est destinée à dévoiler un peu plus l'esprit du jeu. C'est sorti en mai 2012. Il contient une série de pièces buggées et la voix du narrateur informant les joueurs qui est en train de réparer une nouvelle version de son système par la voix. Maquette du game design. C'est du niveau que William, le designer, a envoyé à David une série. L'utilisation efficacité du design est comme William le jeu pour concevoir le jeu tout entier. L'environnement a beaucoup évolué, l'organisation a différencié le bureau. On retient de gauche à droite l'évolution du bureau de Stanley au fil du temps. La première date de 2011, la deuxième de 2012 et la troisième de 2013. Putain, mais c'est stylé, ils montrent vraiment tout ce qu'ils ont fait. Là, je reviens au téléphone. Ok. Ok. Donc là, il y a l'exit. Là, j'ai été voir. Là, j'ai pas été voir, là. Dans l'alpha du jeu, ok, ça c'est pas dans la bêta mais dans l'alpha. Ah, les différents styles du bureau du patron. En cours de développement. Ah ouais. Donc là on revient au remerciement. Horloge du bureau. Ok. Le sol n'est pas vraiment façon de porter une sous-sol. Je trouve ça grave si... C'est une coupée de narration. Kevin Brink, la voix du narrateur, enregistré les dialogues du jeu entier, parfois au cours des 2 années de développement. Des extraits des premières prises qui ne figurent pas dans la version finale du jeu.
Stanley stood on the snow.
Ah, c'est stylé, ils montrent vraiment tout. J'adore le concept.
Oh, look at these two. How they wish to destroy one another. How they wish to control one another. How they both wish to be free.
Désactivé.
Can you see? Can you see how much they need one another? No, perhaps not. Sometimes these things cannot be seen. But listen to me. You can still save these two. You can stop the program before they both fail. Turn off your PlayStation. There's no other way to beat this game. As long as you move forward, you'll be walking someone else's path. Stop now and it'll be your only true choice. Whatever you do, choose it. Don't let time choose for you. Don't...
Est-ce que je recommence le jeu? Oh merde! Oh merde! Ok. Oh! Ok, non, là ça s'arrêtera pas les gars! Non! Là ça s'arrêtera pas! Là ça s'arrête, ça comptait pas s'arrêter les gars! Ça comptait clairement pas s'arrêter!
Wait, Stanley thought to himself. Am I sure that the orders
Les ordres ont
stopped
cessé
coming
d'arriver.
in? How is that possible? They never stopped. Surely I was mistaken. No, the orders were still missing. For now.
Pour le moment. Pour le moment. Attends, il y a sûrement des ordres qui vont revenir. Moi j'attends les ordres, Je suis sûr il y a une fin, genre faut peut-être attendre tranquille ou quoi, mais... Moi je suis sûr il y a un truc comme ça, il y a un délire. Il doit sûrement y avoir un délire. C'est pas possible autrement. Non. Non. En vrai, j'avoue que j'ai la flemme d'attendre. Attendez, ah oui, je sais ce qu'il faut que je fasse.
Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors. This was not the correct way to the meeting room,
On
and
fait
Stanley
pas,
knew it perfectly
comment il s'appelle le
well.
narrateur?
Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first,
Le
just to
narrateur.
admire it.
De narrateur.
The lounge was sublime, a work of art. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Non, en fait, c'est vrai que j'y ai pas pensé, il y a pas les barrières.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years
Ah
ago.
oui, on peut sauter.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I
Ok,
realize that
faut que
investing
je
your
saute
trust
pour
in
descendre.
someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone? Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others? Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? Why, I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful.
Ah ouais?
Let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side. Give me a chance.
Ah, sa voix est incroyable, hein. La voix du narrateur est incroyable. Bon, le mec il est fait pour le jeu, tu le sens.
Now listen
Oh
carefully,
merde.
this is
Oh non.
important.
Oh non, la matrice.
Stanley walked through the red door.
Ah, on va l'écouter. Après on refera le truc et on l'écoutera
Oh,
pas.
thank God you are willing to listen to me. Do you see that I really have wanted you to be happy all this time? The problem is all these choices. The two of us always trying to get somewhere that isn't here. Running and running and running, just the way you're doing right now. Don't you see that it's killing us, Stanley? I wanted to stop. We would both be so much happier if we just stopped. And I think I have a solution. Here, let me show you.
Attends, il y a deux portes. C'est laquelle que je dois prendre? Porte qui mène à du vide. Porte qui mène à du vide, c'est les mêmes. Ok, chargement. Ah non.
What do we want? What are we looking for? Here. Yes.
C'est vrai que
Oh,
c'est...
it's
Wow,
beautiful.
wow,
Isn't it?
wow!
If we just stay right here, right in this moment with this place, Stanley, I think I feel happy. I actually feel happy.
Non, je peux gâcher son moment heureux en fait, pour ça.
No, wait. Where are you
pardon.
going?
Désolé.
Right. Where were we?
Putain, il y a tellement de trucs à faire. Vous savez quoi? On va rester là. Donc, il faudra que je remonte sur le chariot, que je me rejette dans la barre, que je reprenne la porte rouge et que cette fois-ci j'aille à gauche. Que j'aille la porte rouge et que cette fois-ci bah, je sorte. Déjà, là, il y a vraiment une fin où... La fin où le narrateur est heureux, quoi. Et elle mérite aussi, quoi, le mec, être un peu heureux. Elle a pas l'air de dire autre chose, hein. Elle a l'air de rien dire du tout, même. Bon, du coup, on se barre, là. Il m'a saoulé, le mec, là. Bon. Oh.
Oh no. Stay away from those stairs. If you hurt yourself, if you die, the game will reset. We'll lose all of this.
Ok, t'en fais pas, mec. Je vais faire attention à ne pas mourir. Ok. Donc là, le mec qui est heureux, faut faire attention, je veux pas qu'il...
Please, no, Stanley, let me stay here. Don't take this from me.
Oh non, sorry, parce que en fait... Non, d'accord, mais frérot, d'accord. Non. Ah, le mec, il est tellement un bon acteur, là, il m'a fait de la peine quand il a dit ça. T'inquiète, frérot, je retourne vers le bonheur. Je retourne vers le bonheur, mon pote.
Good. You can't be too safe. Promise me you won't go back there. Just stay.
Ah,
here.
mais je crois que c'est un truc où c'est foutu que... Ouais, ça donne limite mal la tête, son truc, hein. Ça donne limite mal la tête, hein. pense qu'il n'y a pas vraiment de fuite si je reste ici. Attends, on va attendre que toutes les boules se rassemblent pour former un énorme truc. Ah oui, ça m'a l'air d'être une fin. Ah non, ça recommence. Ouais non, c'est bon, hein, j'ai pas le temps de, j'ai pas de temps d'avoir le temps.
No! What do we talk about? You're risking everything we achieved here.
Ouais, mais c'est long, mec.
You heard me before, didn't you? You will die! What about this isn't getting through to you?
Je sais pas, mec. Voilà, il y a de l'eau en dessous, non? Y a pas un petit seau dans lequel je peux sauter?
Please, Stanley.
Ah, j'ai glissé! J'ai glissé! Oh non, oh
Oh.
non.
Thank God. You lived. You had me worried there for a moment. Now, can we please get back to the other room?
Allez, on retourne dans l'autre pièce, juste pour lui faire plaisir, après on y retourne. Il dit rien là?
There.
Ah là.
See? This is what you want. This is where we can both be happy. We really can. If we stop. Stanley, go back. There's nothing good that can come from this. No. No, no. What are you doing? Do you just not believe me? What can I say to convince you?
T'inquiète, on va se convaincre très facilement. C'est parti.
Stanley, let's go back to the other room. Can you do that for me? My God, is this really how much you dislike my
Oh non,
game?
sa voix me
You'll
fait
throw
de la
yourself
peine,
from
quoi.
this platform over and over to be rid of it? You are literally willing to kill yourself to keep me from being happy. Am I reading the situation? Yes. Perhaps you can. Perhaps you finally see what I'm talking about. I know you'll see that we can't be happy if we leave this place. You can see that, can't you?
Ah, ouais, t'inquiète, mec. Tout à fait compris.
No, perhaps not.
Désolé, mais j'ai plein d'autres fins à trouver là, mec. Ça m'embête un peu. Allez, à la une, à la deux, à la trois. Ah putain, je suis toujours pas mort.
Just getting a kick out of it. I don't know anymore. I just wanted us to get along. But I guess that was too much to ask. It looks like you wanted to make a choice after all. Well, this one is yours.
On va retourner dans la pièce encore une fois.
Do you actually want to stay alive? Or are you just teasing me?
Il est pas con le bougre. Il est pas con.
I wanted us to be happy here, Stanley. I really did. I still thought that was possible.
Je dois me suicider combien de fois? Elle est très embêtante comme situation. Désolé, hein, narrator. Mais là, toute fin à découvrir, quoi. Plein de choses à voir, plein de choses à savoir. Allez, c'est bon là? Ah, enfin!
It's going to restart, isn't it? I'm going back. Stanley had never seen the office this brightly lit. Was it a sign of something? He hoped it was. He hoped very much that it was.
C'est vrai qu'il y a beaucoup de fenêtres, hein. Bon, on retourne à droite. Si on emprunte la porte bleue.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room,
oui,
and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Standing now in this incredible room, Stanley for the first, but eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. What? Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others? Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? Why, I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Look, let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side. Give me a chance. Now listen carefully, this is important. Stanley walked through the red door. Aha, perhaps you misunderstood. Stanley walked through the red door. I still don't think we're communicating properly. Stanley walked through the red door. All right, fine, go ahead, Stanley. You want to know so badly what's out there? You want to find out what lies at the end of this road you've chosen? Well, don't let me stop you. You see? There's nothing here. I haven't even finished building this section of the map because you were never supposed to be here in the first place. Broken rooms, exposed developer textures. Is this what you had wanted? Was it worth ruining the entire story I had written out specifically for you? Do you not think I put a lot of time into that? Because I did. And in the end, it was all for nothing. Because this is what you wanted to see. Help me, Stanley. Help elucidate these strange and unknowable desires of yours. What would have made this game better? What did you want to see? Vehicles? Skill trees? Work with me. You've given me absolutely nothing so far. Tell you what. Let me take a stab in the dark at a new design, and you can give me some feedback.
Okay,
there we go. A third option. This already feels leaps ahead of where we were before. Go ahead, Stanley. Take it for a spin.
Ok, vas-y, on va voir la troisième option, les gars.
Okay, I'm going to stop you there. Now, tell me about your experience with this new version. Would you say that the game benefited from allowing you more choices? Feel free to be honest. I'm looking for some real critical feedback here.
Incroyable, mec. Incroyable.
Aha! You see, I knew I was onto something.
Incroyable,
Where do these flashes of inspiration come from? How did I know the game needed a third door? Well, it's instinct mostly, a calling in your gut. I really couldn't say where the idea came from, except that I felt it in my soul. You can't teach that, Stanley. Don't even try. Here, based on the data from your previous playthrough, I've compiled a new version. And to be perfectly candid, I think I've knocked it out of the park with this one. Let's take a look.
Oh, what the fuck? What? C'est vraiment des gens? Non, pas possible. Ah, c'est bon ça? Des idiots. Ah merde. Oh, objectif enquête de... Ah! Ok, donc je suis vraiment éclaté quoi. Je suis vraiment éclaté, super. Donc là il y a la troisième porte. Porte de gauche, porte de droite. Ah vas-y, on repasse par la troisième porte.
Now, would you say that competitive leaderboard helped you feel motivated to keep walking through doors?
Ouais, moi je suis...
Honest answers, please.
Non, non, moi je suis grave chaud pour la
Hey, I nearly
compétition là.
forgot. I've got a prototype of a new game I've been working on, and now would be a lovely opportunity to
Ah
give it
ouais?
some play testing. You wouldn't mind taking a look at it, would you? Perfect. Let me boot it up.
On change de jeu. On change de jeu.
In this game, the baby crawls left towards danger. You
Ouais.
click the button to move him back to the right, and if he reaches the fire, you fail. It's a very meaningful game, all about the desperation and tedium of endlessly confronting the demands of family life. I think the art world will really take notice. But of course, the message of the game only becomes clear once you've been playing it for about 4 hours. So why don't you give it 4 hours of play to make sure it's effective? Be sure to keep notes on your experience. You heartless bastard. Did you do it because you hate babies or purely to spite me? Because if it's the latter, well, I don't know what to do. I'm completely out of ideas. I can't think of a single thing that might improve the experience for me. I'm not even going to try. I'm out. I'm done. It's over.
Non.
Thank you for playing. Your input was extremely valuable.
Non, fais pas ça.
Hey, since my game was so awful, why don't we play someone else's game? Just to ease the pain. Let's see. What do we have here? Yes, this seems like it'll work. Let's give it a shot. Aha! Fascinating. What do you think this game is about, Stanley? What's our backstory? What is our motivation? Well, it seems obvious to me that you are meant to play as a creepy man spying on innocent civilians below you from up high in your creep tower, perhaps for some sort of twisted erotic purpose.
Oula.
Yes, that must be it. What a fascinating venture into the experience of total mental depravity. So far, I love everything about this game, Stanley. And it seems there's even more. Come, let's venture outward and see what else is out there.
On ça fait le bruit d'une porte Minecraft.
Oh no. No, it can't be.
Ah, c'est la fin de la liberté?
It is. It's an open world game.
Ah non, okay,
Good God, quickly, block it off.
Non, non.
Thank goodness, Stanley, what a close call. You nearly wandered off into that thing. That big, open, just wandering around, no right or wrong directions, no path to follow. You can just go in any... Oh, thank heavens we avoided it. We're out of the woods now, Stanley. Okay, I'm going to get us out of here. Let's find another game. Preferably something with walls. Something with nice, big, insurmountable walls. Okay, I think this will be just the thing.
Let's go.
Wonderful. See, this is exactly what I had in mind. Just a nice big box for you to run around in. There isn't any possibility that you could get lost here. Now this is game design. Stanley, if you manage to get lost in this game, I will be phenomenally impressed. Okay, so what exactly do we do here? Let's see. There are lots of cars here in the back, but obviously there's no racetrack. Okay, I'm seeing that there's a ball of some kind back here. Is this game sports ball? Stanley, I think it's sports ball. Oh, what fun. We shall run the bases and do a touchdown together? Yes, I think surely we must. Okay, Stanley, here's the ball. Have fun.
Oui, c'est vraiment fait. Oh, je peux... Oh, wow. Oh, je commence à tracer. Je vais aller faire un flip reset contre le mur. Ok. C'est grave déçu, ça, par contre.
Are you doing it? Are you winning? Is this fun? Is it better than my miserable little story that I worked so hard on? Stanley, I have thought, and I realize I'm not a sportsologist, but if one ball generates a certain amount of raw adrenal pleasure, then surely multiple balls makes for an even more euphoric sports experience. I'm going to try it out. Here comes another ball.
Quoi? Une balle? Oh! Oh, deux balles!
Oh, goodness, that really does feel amazing, doesn't it? Stanley, I'm like a child in a confectionery shop. I simply have to have more. I'm insatiable. More balls!
Il se barre trop loin. Je vais toutes les mettre dans les goals là. Allez hop. Ah non, elles reviennent au milieu en fait.
Are you enjoying this, Stanley? Are you having fun? Is this a
C'est
real
génial, c'est génial!
Well, I sure hope you're having a good time, because guess what? It's over. That's right. Your little fun comes to an end.
No!
This is my game, and what I say goes. You get to have fun when I
c'est vraiment
let
pas
you,
nice, ça.
Stanley. Besides, you need someone like me to set boundaries for you. Without rules or boundaries, video games are nothing. Yes, that's what I am. I'm structure. I'm your sense of purpose. And since you decided you didn't want to play my game, now I don't want to play with you either. So, goodbye, Stanley. I'm leaving.
Pas ça, non.
See how you like it when I'm not around to set the rules. Somehow, I don't think you'll enjoy it as much. But who knows? You're an inventive kid. You'll come up with something. After all, you're the one who knows best. Take care, Stanley.
J'allais me jeter dans le goal. Salut mon pote!
Hold on. What are you doing?
What the fuck?
Stanley, don't do that. I can't follow you there. I can't help you. How will you write a story without me? You can't do it. You know that. Stanley, come back.
Feeling cabinet. Ah putain. Fuck. Oh bah je suis retombé. Oh. Oula, putain ça devient un peu film d'horreur là. C'est légèrement film d'horreur cette histoire. Ah, il y a une ambiance creepy d'un coup. J'avoue que la voix du narrateur là, elle me manque un peu là. Attendez, on va remonter là, on va remonter à 427, 425, 426, 427. Oh, mais tu vois qu'il n'y a rien à faire. Oh non! Me dis pas ça. Ah!
I wonder what he found. If what he wanted was to be the leading man in his own story, well, perhaps he's gotten it. Down in wherever he is right now. I wonder if he's happy with his choice, and if he's learned the heavy cost that comes with it. He'll understand soon what I was trying to tell him. He needs me. Someone who will wrap everything up at the end, to make sense out of the chaos and the fear and the confusion. That's who I am. That is what I mean to this world. Oh, yes. Yes, I'll be back. There's no other way. Once this ends, after it all comes to a close, then I'll be back. The end will be here soon. Very soon.
Very soon.
I can wait.
Ah bah oui, c'était une de fin. T'as combien d'heures de live là? 1h19. Allez, on fait la fin classique là, on va suivre ses choix.
Wait, Stanley thought to himself. Am I sure that the orders stopped coming in? How is that possible? They never stopped. Surely I was mistaken.
Oh, new content?
Oh, new content? What does that mean, new content?
for playing the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe.
Ouais, Ultra Deluxe.
As you may know, the Stanley Parable was a video game released in 2013 on home computers. After receiving critical and commercial success, it was expanded upon in 2022 with the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, a reimagining of the game for consoles and home computers.
Ah ouais.
The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe features exciting new content that broadens and expands the world of the Stanley Parable, delighting audiences the world over. Please, step inside and see what thrilling new adventures await in the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe.
Oh, well, this sounds delightful. I'm very excited to see the thrilling new Ultra Deluxe content.
Bon, ouais, là je suis tout à fait hype.
Okay, so far it's an elevator. Nothing special yet, but I'm sure it's just the beginning of a mesmerizing adventure. Is it broken? What's going on here? Should we be moving somewhere or... Oh, there we go. All right, finally, at long last, it's on to the new content. I've never been more ready. Let's do it.
Allez. Oh.
I have to say, initial impressions of Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, mostly tedious. It's as if Oh, okay. Let's see the content. Give me the content, Stanley.
Allez, je te montre le contenu.
All right, let's see. It's the jump circle.
Oh, je peux sauter. Oh, je peux sauter. Ah, je peux plus. Oh non. Vous ne pouvez pas sauter. Non, sérieux, on a supprimé l'option. Obtenir votre premier trophée. Pour recevoir obtenir un trophée pour la première fois.
Is that it? Surely that's not all the new content. There has to be something else, right?
Oh, regarde, il y a encore un ascenseur. Ça va prendre du...
Another elevator. Stanley, I have to say, initial impressions of this game are not positive. It's just elevators and jumping. Is this what passes for exciting new content? If this is new content, then I could just read you the whole dictionary. There's 20 hours of new content right there. Hell, I could count to 30 trillion. You could put that on the box. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, now with over 1,000 hours of new content. And oh, wait. There's more. Very good. Yes. I knew there had to be something else. Let's see it. I'm ready for whatever it is.
Ah, c'est donc pour cela. Alors, ok. Le nouveau contenu là.
That's it? Oh, you've got to be kidding me. You see, Stanley? This is what happens when greedy video game developers with no respect for their fan base rush a cheap expansion to market for no reason other than to make an easy dollar. And don't get me started on the level of craftsmanship that's gone into it. In fact, I'm looking right now at the game's trophies, and it's hard to believe one of them actually says, "Test trophy, please ignore." What quality assurance department signed off on this?
Le pire, c'est que je l'ai vu en plus avant d'annoncer le trophée là, ignorer le trophée.
I intend to find these people on Twitter and hold them personally accountable. It's my fault, Stanley. I built up too much anticipation around the new content, I'm afraid. It could never have lived up to such expectations. If you're still with me, why don't we just reset the game, and we'll try to get back to what the Stanley Parable is really about. No frills, no gimmicks. Just you and me having a great time together like always.
Ouais.
What do you say, friend?
Oh. Qu'est-ce qui se passe, narrateur? Un problème, non, frérot?
Psst. Stanley, come over here. in the vent. I want to show you something. Okay, you remember how cheap and unsatisfying the new Ultra Deluxe content turned out to be? Well, it got me thinking about the past and how much better the Stanley Parable used to be. So I made something special and tucked it away here where the game's developers won't find it. Just our little secret. Take a look.
Ah, il m'a fait une surprise et tout. What the f... Ah, c'est stylé, en vrai, en mode...
I call it the Memory Zone. It's where I've been storing all my favorite memories so I can relive the peak experiences of my life whenever I want. Experiences like the launch of the Stanley Parable on PC. You see, Stanley, doesn't the Memory Zone remind you of how wonderful Stanley Parable was before it was sullied with a cheap PlayStation port? Remember back in October of 2013, when the game originally launched?
Je suis sur console, ça le
Back then,
bazar.
video games had integrity.
Mais quel
Back then,
enculé.
it all meant something.
Quel enculé. Quel enculé, putain.
And
Bon,
over
ça va
here
ici, bah ça
is
va
where
nickel.
I keep reviews of the Stanley Parable. Like this stunning triumph of games journalism, 10 out of 10 from Destructoid.com. James Stephanie Sterling writes, and I quote, "Where so many games that aspire to be more than games end up less than any form of art, Stanley Parable strives and then succeeds to be every game ever created." Did you hear that, Stanley? Every game ever created. That's how grand and all-encompassing the original Stanley Parable was. It was literally every game ever created. It was Skyrim, it was Persona 3, it was all of them, and now it's nothing. It's no games at all. It isn't even the Stanley Parable anymore. It's just a husk now. A lifeless husk with an hour of new elevator content.
Ah, j'ai pas tout le message, qu'est-ce qui se passe? Il est parti jouer... Ah merde, c'est en maintenance. Pourquoi j'ai pas tout le message? Ah, il est parti jouer, il avait ras le cul. Il en avait marre. Tu l'as saoulé.
Here's another moving passage, this time from GameSpot.com.
Vas-y, je peux venir en
The
voir.
Stanley Parable is both a richly
fait, j'ai pas de
stimulating
voc.
commentary on the nature of choice in games, and one that offers some of the most enjoyable, surprising, and rewarding choices I've ever been confronted with in a game. 9 out of 10. Don't you get it, Stanley? The game was perfect. It didn't need anything else. It didn't need new content. All they had to do was transport it in pristine condition along to the PlayStation, boom, done. And they couldn't even couldn't resist the urge to go meddling with a beloved franchise.
Eh, je suis sur console, ça enfoiré. Eh, c'est toujours fermé, là.
These were simpler times, Stanley. But I wouldn't give to go back, to have it all over again. Wait, hang on. I don't recall this part of the memory zone before. What's this? What's down here? Oh no, oh God, no, Stanley. It's a collection of reviews from Pressurized Gas, the extremely popular online storefront for computer games. I haven't looked at these in years. I can't even imagine what's been collecting down here. Surely these reviews were glowing as well, weren't they? Honestly, I could not be bothered to play this game to full completion. The narrator is obnoxious and funny, with his humor and dialogue proving to be more irritating than entertaining. Unfunny! I'm not trying to be funny. I'm trying to make a serious work of art. I suppose I could write up a handful of gags to insert into the Stanley Parable, but the game is already such a densely layered web of profound philosophical insights that I can't even imagine where I'd have the room to stick them.
Je dois aller où là? C'est plus que enfer et des arbres. Ah non!
Okay,
Oh non, pas
let's
ça.
see what this one says. While the idea for the game is good, for someone who prefers non-linear games, this preachiness gets annoying fast. Preachy? Stanley? I'm not preachy, am I?
Stanley!
Preachy. Honestly, you can. Oh, goodness. This is actually quite shocking for me. I always, well, to be honest, I had always thought of the game's dialogue as being rather terse to begin with. You can't know how much fluff I cut from the game to get it to feel as light and airy as it... Well, I always thought it did. But maybe it wasn't. Oh dear. What an awful memory to have to hold on to. These black marks are my otherwise unimpeachable track record. I feel like a failure. Like I let these people down.
Narrateur, on peut pas
Perhaps
perdre
the
tout le
Stanley
monde.
Parable isn't quite as sterling as I always remembered.
Oh non, encore.
What's this one got to say? You constantly have to stop doing anything so the narrator can catch up with his long-winded explanations of what's happening. I wish there was a skip button. A skip button. Well, yes. Yes, I think we can do that. If I'm truly too preachy, then maybe letting you skip ahead for just a moment, surely it couldn't hurt. Not if it means we can strike these negative reviews from the record. Only positive reviews of the Stanley Parable. That's my motto today, and it's always been my motto. I do anything for the customer, Stanley. Yes, a skip button we shall have. And here it is. Go ahead and give it a shot. I'll pop you forward in time so that the second my incessant droning starts to bore you, with just the push of a button, you'll have zipped right past it. It's what the players have been asking for, and I'm very proud to have delivered. No more listening to me rambling on and on and on. No. The Stanley Parable is a game for the people. And if the people want silence, then by goodness, that's what they're going to get. Well, don't sit around waiting for me to shut up. Go ahead and make me shut up. Here,
non, je ferai pas taire.
We'll pretend that I've just begun an interminable monologue, and it goes something like this. The story and the choices, or what have you, and therefore, by becoming it is, so on and so forth, until inevitably, we all until the end of time, at which time everything all at once, so, now you see, blah 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 blah. We've eaten too much and it can't be just yet, no, until 245. That the logic of elimination working backwards, the deduction therefore becomes impossible to manufacture. It went on for nearly 10,000 years, until just yesterday, here and there, forward and back, and never a moment before lunchtime. It can't be. It's the only thing there is. How many billions left until so much more than forever ago? Which is why I say... the story and the choices, or what have you, and therefore, by becoming it is, so on and so forth, until inevitably, we all until the end of time, at which time everything all at once, so, now you see, blah 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 blah. Oh, you're back, you see. You were only frozen in time for a few minutes, but it was plenty of time for me to deliver a long, rambling monologue full of unnecessary verbal flourishes and lengthy ruminations on the nature of choice in video games. Of course, I happen to believe it was perhaps one of my more profound such ruminations. Not that of course you need a description of it, but if I had to describe it, I'd say it was perhaps less of a rumination and more of a treatise. Or maybe a manifesto. Look. Well there, sport. You really did catch me rambling on a bit, didn't you? But that's the power of the button. The minute I start to go off on a thoughtless display of self-absorption, it's right at your fingertips to go, poof, and it's all over. I can't wait to see what Cookie 9 will say about this, and whether they'll edit the rating of their pressurized gas review, or at least change some of the wording, perhaps. To be honest, I don't even know if one can change their review in the first place. I guess I should become better educated on how exactly pressurized gas works.
Là, je sais toujours pas s'il va mal le prendre, je
That would
pense.
have been a smart thing to check on before I went on about this whole exercise of making the skip button. Although I have to imagine that after seeing this exciting...
On va voir ce qu'il dit.
Back, Stanley. Now, I should say that the amount of time the button has been skipping through is becoming longer and longer. That last one was, well, I want to say maybe 30, 45 minutes? Unendurable by any means, but it's, well, there's really only so much I can ramble on to myself about. I know, it's shocking, isn't it? But at any rate, I do suggest that we not press the button again. I think the skip button has been aptly demonstrated, and we can say goodbye to it and just... Wait, how do we get out of here? Where did the door go? Wasn't there a door that led into this room? I do feel quite certain that there was one here before. How else would we have gotten into the room in the first place? I don't think one can enter... Stanley!
Oh pardon, j'ai rien appuyé sur le
Stanley,
bouton.
please don't push the button again. It's been 12 hours. You've just been frozen there. I don't know why the skips are getting longer, but they're really, truly getting longer, and my God, there's no way out of the room. Stanley, the door is gone. It's completely gone. I've looked at it from every angle. I've checked every one of those walls 1,000 times, and there's no door, Stanley.
There's
no door. There's just you and the button, and if
Et
you
le bouton!
Oh, Stanley, you're back. You're back. Oh, my goodness. I have someone to talk to again.
Oh mon Dieu, c'est horrible. Qu'est-ce que j'ai
Stanley,
fait?
I think it's been a week.
Oh.
Or 2 weeks. I've been sitting here all that time, just sitting here, not a single person to speak with. And you'd think that that's just how it's always been.
Oh mon Dieu.
Oh, hello, it's you. You're here again. Welcome. I have had time to think about you and about us and about everything we've been through. I've had so much time, I stopped keeping track after a year. Have you ever sat down in one place and not moved for one entire year? Let me describe it for you. To begin with, there is only regret. There is only the turning wheel of missed opportunities. I felt nothing at all but regret for the longest time, Stanley. Days, months. I lost it all in a blur of the deepest longing to undo the past. And when that feeling had
Et le bouton! Oh là. J'ai tué le narrateur. Narrateur, t'es là? Narrateur. Narrateur.
But they didn't understand the game was never meant to be funny. It was meant to have a point. It was meant to speak to the human condition. But where are the jokes? Where are the jokes? They bemoaned, they screamed, they gnashed their teeth and said, entertain.
J'adore le concept. On arrive à la fin, là, à la fin.
The end is never the end, is never the end, is never the end, is never the end, is never the end.
Ok, là je pense qu'on a fait déjouer son cerveau là.
Is never the end, is never the end, is never the end, is never...
Narrateur? Narrateur? Est-ce que ça va? Oh! Ça commence légèrement à être... légèrement en ruine. Faire comme si de rien n'était. Oh! Oh, la nature est en train de reprendre ses droits. Le plus grand des calmes. Là, c'est terrifiant. C'est terrifiant, je vais rester près de mon bouton passé là. Passez, passez, passez. Oh non! Oh, le bouton est cassé. Oui. Faudrait que tu t'entraînes pour le faire parfaitement. Oh là là. Qu'ai-je fait à ce pauvre jeu? Ouais, je l'ai détruit là, je l'ai détruit. Ah ouais, là c'est... Ah, c'est une des fins, je pense. Ok, si c'est une des fins, je vais pouvoir couper le live et on essaiera de trouver d'autres fins la prochaine fois. Ou alors on fait la fin normale, on fait la fin classique avant d'arrêter, comme ça on arrondit à 2 heures.
Stanley thought, how amusing they'll find it. Oh, won't we all just laugh and laugh at the time I thought everyone had gone missing?
Oh non, il y a encore new contain. Attendez, on va voir. Attendez, on va voir. Il y a du nouveau contenu sur le nouveau contenu.
You notice my sign. Yes, I have something very exciting to show you.
Ouais, il y avait du nouveau contenu qui était pas ouf, et là ils ont fait un nouveau contenu sur le nouveau contenu. Donc là ça peut être que excellent en fait. Allez, bon, tout le nouveau contenu là, narrator.
You see, Stanley, I've been reflecting on the Stanley Parable and
Ouais.
about how roundly disappointing this ultra deluxe version has turned out to be. The original Stanley Parable was a landmark, and any new content for it should live up to that legacy. So forget this ultra deluxe nonsense. I say we take it one step
What the fuck?
even further. Which is why I'm very proud to announce for the first time ever.
Vas-y, vas-y.
Stanley Parable.
Oh mon dieu, Stanley Parable 2. Ah, c'est le tweet à chaque fois, je regarde le mauvais côté.
Yes, you see, isn't this far superior to a measly port with a few minor additions? Think of all the new territory we'll cover with a fully fledged sequel. An entirely new experience, built from the ground up. Why, there are so many possibilities. It could go in so many different directions. This is what fans have truly been asking for. Calling it the Stanley Parable 2 is just so much catchier than Ultra Deluxe, don't you think? Ultra Deluxe? What does it even mean? But the Stanley Parable 2, now that's an artistic statement right there. It's future-oriented. It screams progress and innovation and long-term franchising potential.
Ouais, c'est génial.
Now, to be clear, I haven't quite nailed down what exactly the Stanley Parable 2 is going to be, but let's take a look at some of the features I've been developing for it. I figure that if I can loosely organize a handful of interesting concepts, that surely the game will sort of naturally spring up around them. It'll all work itself out. Game development is much more of a fuzzy magic than anything scientific or logical, really.
Du nouveau contenu, du nouveau contenu. Waouh, mais ils sont chauffés là.
Here we are. Go on, try out some of the new features.
Ok. Ok, j'ai plein d'endroits à aller voir. What the fuck. Le bouton that say the name of the player that is playing the... Oh, sérieux?
For the Stanley Parable 2, I asked myself, what do players really want? And of course, the first and most obvious answer is that they want to be individually recognized and validated as people. So with that in mind, my first addition to the game is this button which speaks the name of the person playing the game. Isn't that wonderful?
Jim.
Sorry, I should have clarified. Right now, the button
okay, ça dit seulement Jim, quoi.
But of course, in the final game, this button will say your name, whatever name that is. Here, let's have you role-play as Jim to really simulate the full experience of this feature.
Ok, je suis Jim.
Just play along. I promise you'll love it. Okay, here we go. Let's take a deep breath, clear your mind, Forget whoever you are and simply become a person named Jim.
Ok, je suis Jim.
I want you to imagine yourself living as Jim, sleeping and waking as Jim, falling in love and being heartbroken as Jim, seizing all of the world's possibilities as Jim, and as Jim watching your dreams crumble into dust. Do you feel it deeply? Are you really, truly Jim right?
Jim.
Whoa, hold on. I wasn't finished setting up the
Ah, merde.
backstory. If you don't properly roleplay as Jim, then you'll never understand the impact of this button. Otherwise, it's just a stupid button that says somebody else's name. Okay, we're doing it again, and this time let me finish first. Now, allow yourself to
Ok, je me laisse envahir par Jim.
Alright, fine, whatever. It's just a meaningless button that says Jim. Are you happy now? Get out of here. I'm done with this button. Why don't you go humiliate me in front of a different feature that I worked very hard on?
Jim.
See, if you'd only played along, that would have been your name, the button says. But no. Instead,
But no.
I can't even think about it. I'm taking the Jim button away.
Comment ça? Non,
Jim.
non,
Jim.
non, le bouton Jim.
Jim.
Non. Oh l'enculé. Il m'a repris le bouton Jim. Oh, je suis détruit, anéanti.
Maybe I'll only let people named Jim play the Stanley Parable too. They would appreciate what I've created here.
Attends, il y a un QR code, je vais essayer de scanner le QR code. Attendez, bougez pas, je scanne le QR code. Ah oui, c'est vraiment site stanleyparable2.com. Welcome to the official stream of Stanley Parable. C'est quel... Putain, excellent, ils ont carrément fait un QR code, donc ça t'amène sur le site internet. On va aller voir là-haut. Please no screenshot. Il y a plein d'autres trucs. Saut de réconfortant, des poissons de bureau, trous sans fond. Ah, il y a un trou sans fond?
Okay, I'll be honest, I haven't yet decided on this one. I think that in the new version, the office could use a bit of decoration, like balloons. But I'm undecided on Get Well Someday and Happy 12th Birthday. Which would you go with?
Celui-là, il est bien là. J'aime bien la couleur.
Sometimes when you solicit another person's opinion, it makes you realize that you knew which one you actually really wanted all along. Get Well Someday it is.
Ah, ok. Super.
Or actually, maybe I should have gone with... No, I've made my decision, we're moving on.
Ah, jump circles.
You know what? Let's bring the jump circle back for Stanley Parable 2 as well. It's... Oh, wait. You already spent all your jumps the first time we saw the jump circle. Oh well. I suppose it can just be a nice decorative piece then.
Ouais, mais c'est immense en fait. Free, new, easy, profit, I can believe it's that simple. C'est génial si ça marche comme ça.
Here's something special. You remember that broken test trophy that got left in the game on accident? Well, I'm developing a technology to simply give you the trophy.
Oh, parfait.
Yes. You see, you'll come to this lever and when... Okay, perhaps I should have clarified. This is technology that will exist. Right now, the trophy is still fully broken. I'm not a wizard, Stanley, but I guarantee it will be fixed in the sequel to at last satisfy the hordes of ravenous fans all over the world who have been uproariously demanding this feature. Gamers, we hear you, and I promise it will happen.
Je veux mon trophée. Espèce d'arnaqueur. Tant pis. Je vais me faire arnaquer. J'aurais pas dû aller dans le New Content parce que là je suis reparti pour au moins 30 minutes.
What else? What other exhibits haven't we seen yet?
Attendez, mais j'ai perdu le trou sans fond. Infiniment, c'est K. Il est... Ah. C'est là-bas. Ah bah oui, bah énorme truc. Alors, les trous sans fond.
Stanley, here's an idea that I'm truly fond of. It's never been done before in a video game. This is in fact a hole that you can fall down forever. That's right. Infinite falling. You can fall until the end of time if you like. A stunning leap forward for video games as a medium.
On saute dans le trou. Ah,
you see, isn't it wonderful? One of my more ingenious concoctions, if I do say so. Now then, since you've gotten to see the infinite hole, you can press the teleport button to pop back up to the top, and we can continue onward.
Non, j'ai envie de tomber. Moi. Bien le trou sans fond là. J'ai envie de voir s'il est vraiment sans fond.
Now, I don't mean to be a
Sans les
but I do
rabat-joie.
recommend you use the teleport button to go back to the top. Maybe do it on the sooner rather than later spectrum.
Plutôt
of
proche que loin.
things.
Il nous cache quelque chose, cet enfer.
Okay, Stanley. I don't know quite how to say this tactfully, but it's possible that I slightly exaggerated the
Ah, je le
infinite
savais.
of the
Je le
hole.
savais.
Is it a very, very deep hole? To be certain it is. It's an extremely deep hole. I don't want anyone to say that it isn't an astonishingly deep hole. It is. Is it infinite? Well, that sort of depends on your definition of infinity. From one perspective, the infinite is merely philosophical in nature. It's more of a...
Ah bah.
Okay, well, good for you. You found the bottom of the hole. You found me out, Stanley. I'm a liar and a cheat, and you're so clever. Look, I think the issue here is just that you're unusually fascinated by falling. What normal person actually wants to fall infinitely? I figured the hole was as deep as anyone would actually need. Don't you put this on me. Maybe you're the problem. Look, things got a little heated there. I think we both said some things we didn't mean. Why don't we just put all this behind us and agree to just call the hole mostly infinite? If that works for you, then go ahead and press the teleport button to warp up to the top of the hole and we can move on. I'll just be up here when you're ready.
Ça, ils ont mis des paroles de musique.
Great. Now, I'm very excited to
Oh,
show
ah non, j'ai glissé.
You see, I was
Oui.
right. The problem is you. The problem is that you like holes too much. Not normal. A normal person would have said, yep, that's an infinite hole right there. Goes on forever till the end of time. Don't need to see it all, but not you. Oh, no, 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 no. You have a weird sort of...
Ah.
Oh. Did the hole seem even shorter to you this
Ouais,
time?
il est...
I couldn't
ouais.
help but feel like you spent a little less time in there than you did before. I mean, admittedly, I didn't make an infinite hole, but I didn't think it was that not infinite. Well, I suppose once again there's nothing to do here. If you decide you've had enough of the hole, you can hit the teleport button and come join me up above. Had enough? I'm positive
Ah,
you're thrilled.
putain, j'ai glissé.
How could I have
Ah bah
guessed?
ça, je rêve.
You're back in
Voilà
the
dans le
hole.
trou.
If this starts to become a thing where... Wow. Okay. Yes.
I
I'm
see.
starting to become extremely certain that the hole is not only not infinite, but that it's growing steadily less
Si
and
vous
less
devez avoir
infinite.
profond.
I suspect that I'm starting to hit the point where it's no longer feasible to call the hole infinitely deep, even by the lax overall standards for accountability in marketing. What's going on here? Stanley, I have no explanation for the uncertain nature of the hole's length. Here, let's try something. Let's pop back up to the top, and we'll see if it gets any shorter. Well, there it is. The shame of my lies. How is this still appealing to you? I know you're obsessed with holes, but at this depth, I just can't see this scratching the itch. Oh, who am I to judge? You just do whatever it is you're here to do and hit the teleport button when you're ready to move on.
Si je reste un peu plus longtemps, est-ce qu'il va commencer à pouvoir me juger? Il va rien dire? Il va dire quelque chose. Hein. Non? Il dit rien? Ah!
Is the, teleport button not working?
Il fonctionne plus effectivement.
You sure?
Ouais.
Well, I mean, I really don't have an explanation. Still nothing? Well, I suppose there is one thing I can do to fix this. I'm out. Goodbye, Stanley. You couldn't bear to be away from the hole, and now you'll get more time with it than you could ever have asked for. It's a win for everyone. You get to be with the hole, I get to do literally anything else. Take care, Stanley. I hope you and the hole have a wonderful rest of eternity together.
Abandonné. C'est en train de descendre. Oh non, si ça descend si lentement, ça va être extrêmement long. C'est hyper lent pour descendre. Ah, je peux changer ma perspective. Oh, elle est pas mal celle-là. Oh, wow, wow. Ça, elle est bizarre comme pose. J'aime bien attendre. Celle-là, elle est pas mal. Votre perception? Oh! J'espère qu'elle soit pas copyright en fait. Changez votre réalité, quoi? What the fuck? Appuie sur toutes les touches. What the fuck? Oh, ça fait, c'est full bugué. Changez qui vous êtes. Ça part trop loin, ça part trop loin. Je crois que j'ai...
Stanley!
Oui, pardon.
You're awake. It seems you had sort of dozed off there, drifting away into dreamland. But we can't have that, Stanley, because this hole is just so darn fascinating that I want you to be wide awake for every second of it. You don't want to miss a single minute. So how about if I just pop
c'est
in
encore la
from
musique.
time to time and wake you up to keep you really truly focused on the whole? From the looks of things, you and I will have many, many years here in this hole, and I'm looking forward to all of them. Stay alert, Stanley. I'll be back. Toodlepip.
Voilà là. Si je quitte...
Here we
Ah,
are. Go on. Try out some of the new features.
alors là je suis parti pour un truc extrêmement long en fait les gars. Moi ce que je vous propose c'est que je quitte ici et on se retrouve la prochaine fois. On est déjà à 2 heures de live l'air de rien. Donc de toute façon je sais comment l'atteindre cet endroit, donc vous en faites pas. On y retournera sans problème. Bref, si ce petit live vous a plu, n'hésitez pas à le liker et à vous abonner si c'est déjà fait. Et activez la cloche de notification et moi je vous dis ciao.